Last week on Suffield's Amazing Race, our teams were challenged by a fast-paced leg based in Asia, lasting no longer than 35 minutes. First, our teams departed from the residential quad in the order in which they arrived last week, and made their way to the Student Union. There they found Ralph Koo, who informed them of their first challenge. As one of China's most popular sports, ping pong has become quite popular on the Suffield campus. At the ping pong table, both team members had to grab a paddle and a ball and start volleying to themselves. Once they reached 50 hits, they could grab their next clue. All teams conquered this task with relative ease, and all were able to continue to the next challenge within minutes. Their next clue led them to the dining hall, where they would feast upon a common Indian delicacy, naan, very, very spicy naan.
On the menu, spicy naan!
Once teams had finished a plate, they were allowed to head out. However, it was here where 3 of our teams faced immense trouble, leading to the disqualification of one of them.
The hardest part was eating that disgusting food. It was gross, and it was spicy, and I did not appreciate it.
My strategy was I got a cup of water and I started dunking the bread in the water, so that way it was a bit easier to eat and it wasn't as spicy. And then about halfway through, I started getting a little sick. So what I did was I stood up and I started bouncing up and down, because when you bounce up and down, your stomach expands and it also helps digest faster, so you're able to get more food in. So I did that.
I'm wicked happy I didn't do that today.
I mean, I think eating, I think that speaks for itself.
Those who did make it through were then asked to find a makeshift Taj Mahal hidden somewhere in the lower playing fields. Although it was relatively easy to find, those with full bellies did not find this challenge too inviting.
No, it was eating and then running. That was hard.
Yeah, we had to run all the way down to the bleachers. I didn't even eat, and I thought it was hard.
And then back up all the way to Volcom.
Nonetheless, teams came and conquered and moved on to the final challenge. Origami.
Origami originates from Japan, and the art of paper folding is still popular in the country today. Your task is to create 3 of the simple folds. The first will be a rabbit. You can find instructions in front of Miss Machado.
The second will be a horse, which Mr. Lynch will have instructions for. Finally, you must do this one last. You have to make a fish and give it to Aki.
In another extremely tight race, Team Zingusi, Ingen, and Zanussi finished first for the 3rd time. In an impressive showing at the Origami Challenge, Emma Moran and Dan Bennett passed Nick and Owen for 2nd place, while the power couple managed a close 3rd. Nina and Allie were the next to check in, despite their difficulties at the eating challenge, and Emily and Tristan rounded out the final 5. Jonah and Brandon, one of the top teams in the past 3 rounds, were unable to overcome an early stumble and were dealt to death by naan. Sadly, Cecilia and Tanner were unable to finish, as they had to quit after a rough showing in the Indian Challenge. Tonight, our 5 remaining teams will be faced with the hardest leg yet. Our oceanic leg will span from the Student Union to the Solo Barn, but if you really want a show, I would recommend coming to the PAC at about 6:40 to cheer on your friends and teachers. Who will fail and who will prevail on Suffield's Amazing Race?